You put it that the Ocean Alliance is all about saving whales, saving the oceans, and saving ourselves.
That's right. Healthy whales, healthy oceans, healthy humans.
Okay, so I don't think the average one of us really would understand why healthy whales has any connection to whether we survive and thrive. So take us first, fill us in on the very basics of the science that's happening there.
Yeah. And certainly during the course of the conversation, you're going to have to give me some simple questions because, of course, that is like one of the biggest questions out there. In the broadest paintbrush that we can, 71% of this planet is covered by water. Like one of the takeaways today should be we live on planet ocean. We don't live on planet Earth. Okay. And what drives everything on this planet is the energy that's coming in from the sun. So if 71% of the planet is water, one of the primary drivers there are phytoplankton. So actually 2 out of every breath you take come from ocean CO2, not rainforests. A lot of people don't realize a lot of rainforests are actually closed systems. You know, they take in the CO2, they produce the oxygen, and it goes around again. But actually 2 out of every 3 breaths you take come from the ocean. It's coming from this phytoplankton. And you know what? Oceans are unique in that if a little animal dies outside your window on the lawn, you know, all the nitrates are spread about, okay? You've got, you know, the worms, the ants, the bugs, the mice, whatever. When something dies on the ocean, it sinks down to the bottom, okay? So in many ways, and that's why islands like Galapagos, where you get these upwellings, they bring these nutrients to the surface. It's so productive. But in its simplest level, whales are the earthworms of the sea, okay? And when they defecate, they are fertilizing this phytoplankton. And there's a paper that came out in the journal Nature recently, I think, 2021, basically saying they believe ocean productivity has declined over the last 30 years because we removed the whales and we removed all of that fertilizer. Imagine if we removed millions of tons of fertilizer that we use every day on the land, crops would crash. So we removed the whales, we removed the proverbial earthworms of the sea. It's a bit more complicated than that because you've got the nitrogen conveyor belt and so on. But I think for now, that's the summary.
Okay, so the oxygen that we breathe comes from these phytoplankton.
Correct. 2 out of every 3 breaths comes from phytoplankton from our oceans.
That were fed by the whale poo.
Yeah, well, they get the energy from the sun, but as you know, you need that whole formula. So, you know, you need photosynthesis, and to do photosynthesis, you need nitrates, you need iron, you need these fertilizing components. And we don't have to go too deep into the shit, as it were. But, you know, an average whale eats about 5% of its body weight a day. So if you've got a 100-ton blue whale, it's eating 5% of its body weight a day when it's feeding, which probably means you got a couple of tons of poop coming out there a day. So imagine if you remove millions of whales, that is tens of millions of tons of fertilizer that is removed from the ocean ecosystem that is affecting everything. You know, fish, cod, shrimp, krill, whatever, you know. They call them a food chain for a reason. And when I talk to kids, I say, hey, you know what an anchor chain is? You take a link out of that anchor chain, it doesn't work anymore. And the sort of interconnectedness of nature, we tend to gloss over a little bit on occasion.